Everything that took our parents 30 years to achieve, we wanted it
right away.
Right then.
We had a nice big house in the Suburban that was brand new and 2 kids and a white picket fence, and we thought we were really living the American dream.
I did the whole thing where you sign like 1 application your freshman year and you get like 5 billion credit cards.
My mother kind of expected me to live that way. Well, why shouldn't we live to the standard she was living?
My whole philosophy was, I'll just work another week. Swipe the card, work another week, swipe the card. I got this, right?
My thing was, if I want it, then I need to have it myself. But I also had a very strong sense of self-entitlement. Like I needed to reward myself for all the good things that I've ever done.
We couldn't just have any apartment. We had to have a downtown loft apartment. We couldn't just have any car. We had to have a convertible, a brand new convertible.
I bought some land, just kept adding up, and I bought this, bought that.
When I graduated, I had probably more credit card debt than I should have had, student loan debt.
We put all these upgrades in our house.
Well, we had to remodel it.
Oh, we did, of course.
It was very important to remodel.
It had to have travertine floors.
But we were completely house poor.
I spent a lot of money on things that later probably had very little to no value.
I was never late on payments, was never behind. I was living paycheck to paycheck.
We were just doing what was normal.
Baby step 2, the debt snowball. Pay off all your debt except your house using the debt snowball. You see, what we figured out is the fastest way to become wealthy is to get control of your largest wealth building tool, which is your income. And when all your income goes to car payments and student loans that have been around so long you think they're a pet, when all your income goes to MasterCard, when all your income goes to Discover Bondage, when all your income goes to other people that you work so hard for, they have tall buildings and you don't. This is not accidental. They are being intentional, and we're wandering along wondering why we're broke, because we're following their plan for them. And it's called staying in debt. And it'll keep you broke your whole life. You'll work your butt off and you'll feel like a rat in a wheel, just run, get nowhere. You're not gonna win. You're never gonna win with money as long as you're paying payments. When you don't have any payments, you know what you got? Money. Think about how much money you would have if you didn't have any payments. Just do the math right now. How fast would you be rich? That's what you're doing. You're giving them your wealth to buy stuff that you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't even really like. That's what's going on. Because we've been sold, and we bought. Am I wrong? Say no. This is what's happening in our country today. And debt is a fairly new concept in America. You see, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents for sure, thought debt was a sin. I've got my great-grandfather's memoirs, and they were leaving Ohio coming this way to settle on the frontier. They probably didn't come this far over because it was the year 1805. And several of the neighbors decided they're gonna load up and move because it was getting crowded. There's probably 7 people in the whole territory, right? But they're gonna move off, but one neighbor couldn't leave because that neighbor had debt. And the way my great-great-great-grandfather wrote about them, it was as if they, like they were the worst sinner in the world. That's how debt was viewed in those days. You fast forward a little bit, your grandparents thought that was okay on a couple things maybe, and your parents on quite a few things, but our generation, we borrow on everything. I mean, you can get a loan on a dog. Now, how dumb is this? The only thing dumber is you can get a loan on a cat. I mean, it's nuts out there, y'all. I mean, they will loan you money on anything, won't they? They'll find air somehow and box it up and sell it to you on payments. I never saw anything like it. And it is the most marketed thing we have out there today. As a matter of fact, today we live in the most marketed to culture in the history of the world. And of all the products that are marketed to us, the one that they spend the most money selling to us with is debt. Just the big 4 on credit cards alone, not counting car payments and all the other stuff. Just Visa and MasterCard and Discover and American Express spent $4 billion last year on marketing. Now, since that number is kind of hard to grasp, let me tell you what that would do, okay? that would buy 20,000 people a $200,000 house. That's how much they spent selling you. And guess what? You bought. That's why they do it. If it didn't work, they'd quit doing it. But you bought, and you're making them rich. And it's not a conspiracy theory, it's just a fact. You see, this whole idea of living without debt, it requires a completely new way of looking at things, a paradigm shift. We used to call it back in the 80s. It was a big thing we talked about. Your paradigm is your way of looking at things. How do you get a new way of looking at things? You learn information you didn't have before. The Bible says, be not conformed to this world. And you don't want to be normal, because normal's broke. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Right? The number one cause of divorce is money fights. You don't want to be normal. Normal's broke. Normal sucks. I don't want to be normal. So what do I want to be? I don't want to be conformed to this world, but what do I want to be? I want to be transformed by the renewing of my mind. I get new things in my head by learning, and it gives me a better life. That's the power of knowledge. Let me give you an example of just visual knowledge. I'll show you what your paradigm shift when you get information looks like. Watch this. You got to be careful when you punctuate something for someone else, don't you? Some of you were getting ready to get a little protest sign out. I could tell. Because you punctuated something. Isn't that interesting? You had a way of looking at things that caused you to be predisposed to punctuate that one way or the other. Now, for those of you that have now learned, now that you've seen there's two possible meanings to that sentence when punctuated two different ways, I'll help you. The last one is the correct answer. Here's another one. Give this a look. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. We get out of school, we got a little bit of a student loan debt or a lot. We got a little bit of credit card debt or a lot. My wife's driving a Pinto, so I went and bought her a car I wanted. And then we've been married 20 minutes. And once you've been married 20 minutes, everybody says, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. You gotta buy a house. Everybody knows you gotta buy a house. Broke people should all buy houses, because that really helps broke people to have a house. It actually makes you broker. That's why they call them mortgage brokers. So don't buy a house when you're broke. It'll make you broker. We're gonna get you where you can buy a house, but not where the house owns you, where you own it. It's a different concept. But what did we do? We were broke. We went and bought a house with nothing down. I'm gonna fall over. People come in my office look like this all the time. They're going, dude, can you get me out? I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna hurt. We're gonna have to amputate the Tahoe. You're gonna have to sell your stupid car. What? You're kidding? No, I'm not kidding. It's the answer to half the questions on my show, isn't it? Sell the car, right? The borrower is slave to the lender. Who's in charge of your life? Think about it. What if you had no payments? You walked in Monday morning. The boss is a jerk. Starts yelling and cussing again. You just start walking off. Where are you going? I don't have any payments. What you just got is what a taste of what it feels like when you're free. People make different career decisions when they're free, when they don't have to pay payments anymore. They lived like no one else. They said, I've had it. I'm not living like this anymore. But Dave, what about credit cards? Don't I need a credit card to rent a car and make purchases online? No. You don't? No, you don't. The truth is you can do both of these things with a debit card. That's my wallet. I don't have any credit cards. It's got green presidents' faces in it and 2 debit cards, which has the same fraud protection as your credit card has. The only thing is you can't spend money if you don't have money. It's a new idea. So you have to realize we're not in Congress. We're gonna have to live on less than we make. We're gonna have to have a plan. Myth, car payments are a way of life. You can't live without a car payment. Have you ever heard somebody say that? You're always gonna have a car payment. It's just the way it is. Nobody says it in celebratory voice, do they? Like, you're always gonna have a car payment, man. Nobody says it that way, right? They always whine, right? You're always gonna have a car payment. Might as well get a car. Little man can't get ahead. I hope we can elect a president that'll fix my life. Oh, I'm stuck. Poor little me. Eeyore is their spirit animal. You know what I'm talking about? The average car payment in America today is $507 over 84 months, according to the National Auto Dealers Association. If you invest $500 in your Roth IRA and a good growth stock mutual fund from age 30 to age 70, you'll have between $5 and $6 million in that one account that you would have spent on cars. I like cars. I don't like them that much. I need a Chevy truck. It goes down in value like a rock. That's where Chevy got that, like a rock. And you're paying payments on it. It's crazy. An old guy called me from Texas and he said, Dave, you're gonna kill me, man. I said, I can't kill you, I'm in Tennessee, you're in Texas. What'd you do? He goes, oh, my truck payment. I said, oh man, Texas guy in his truck. What do you owe on your truck, man? A lot. I said, okay, how much is your payment on your truck? $769. I'm like, good. How much is your house payment? Oh, we live in a double wide, it's $550. Dude, if your truck payment's bigger than your house payment, you might be a redneck. Oh. Man, you wanna go to sell my truck? Yeah, or move in it. Yeah, oh my gosh. It's kind of basic, you guys. Myth. I need to use a credit card. I need to borrow money because I need to build up my FICO score. I worship at the altar of the great FICO, and he provides me all good things in my life. And so I need to make sure to pay homage to him and make sure that the score is high. Great FICO, we bring you offerings of interest. We've all fallen for this, haven't we? Because we've been told, and then enough of us believed, that the FICO score is an indication of winning financially, and it's not. From FICO's own website, the FICO score, the algorithm, the mathematics of the actual algorithm they use to develop your FICO score is 100% based on your interaction with debt. It is not based on wealth. It's not based on wisdom. It's not based on savings. It's not based on you budgeting. It's based on debt. 35%, over 1/3 of your FICO score is based on your debt payment history. 30% is based on your level of debt. 15% is based on your length of your debt history. 10% is based on the type of debt. And 10% is based on new debt. It's an I love debt score. I have an 800. I'm so sorry. That probably cost you about 100 grand in interest. The only way to get an 800 is have a lot of debt over a lot of time and pay it back perfectly. And that means you paid a lot of interest. You didn't prepay anything. You didn't pay things off early. You just stayed right in the lane where they wanted you. But I got an 800. Next time somebody says that, just go to inside your brain. Don't say it to them. Just go, he is really stupid. Because you just fell for the whole thing, didn't you? You fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Because that's what I mean when I say we bring FICO great offerings. Thank you, O FICO. You provide us good things. Because, it's like a dog chasing its tail, y'all. What are we gonna do? We're gonna go in debt. Why? So we can build up our score. Why? So we can go into debt. Why? So we can build up our score. Why? So we can go into debt. Why? So we can build up our score. Why? So we can go into debt. Why? You're getting the point, right? What a great idea for a bank to talk an entire culture into doing. And it worked. Again, they're just better at selling their stuff than we are at not buying it. It's not a conspiracy theory. They're just excellent at their job. And the problem is their job has stolen your wealth. And you got to decide, am I going to fall for this garbage anymore? No, I'm not. Not anymore. So we've been talking about 3 of the biggest myths and truths about debt. But remember, debt is the most aggressively marketed product in the history of the world. And so you bought it and I bought it. So let's walk through some of the things that people believe, because you have to stop believing lies if you're going to win. We got to get rid of the lies to be able to win with money. Myth. But Dave, I pay off my credit card every month and I get points and airline miles. Truth is, when you use a credit card instead of using cash, you actually spend more because you don't feel it. Carnegie Mellon did a study that said when you spend cash, it activates the pain centers of the brain, and when you spend with plastic, it does not. Consequently, people spend more when they use credit cards, even debit cards, than when they use cash, because you don't feel the transaction going on. Many vendors have discovered this. McDonald's, for instance, did a study. They found that the person spending cash spends 47% less than the person spending with plastic. They were the first fast food operator to go with plastic for that reason. Think about what happens. We go in with this into McDonald's. We go, I want a large of everything and I'll pay for his, right? You go into McDonald's with this and you're like, ouch, that hurts. I feel it. I think I want the dollar menu, and you're on your own. See, it's a big deal. Plus, think about this. When you buy something with cash, there's an exchange. I give you something, and you give me the merchandise. I leave with something after I gave you something. There's a trade. No trade happens when you're doing with plastic. You give them something, they give it back to you, and they give you the merchandise. See, there was no trade. Like when you were a kid and you traded one toy for another or something like that, there's no trade. And I know that's subtle, but it changes the way you spend money. And it changes everything. You want to get even more crazy? When you start buying stuff with these things, man, when you start buy stuff with your smartphone, you really don't feel it. And so pain, minimal pain, you at least know there's money attached to this, but with this thing, you're just buy. You got to be really, really careful because it changes what we call friction, the way you feel the money. And by some estimates, there's 20 trillion frequent flyer miles that have been left unused. You know what you could do with 20 trillion airline miles? You and 2,000 of your friends could go round trip to Pluto and back. Think about this. This is nuts, you guys. This is just, it's out of control. Besides that, I've met with thousands of millionaires. I never met a single millionaire who said, oh, Dave, I made my money with my airline miles. It didn't work. Or my points. I mean, think about it. You get 1% back. I get 1% back on my credit card. What's that mean? It means if you spend $100,000 on your credit card, you get $1,000 back. This is a method to wealth. How? That's just nuts, guys. It doesn't work. Myth. But Dave, a credit card is more secure than a debit card. I worry about fraud. The truth is, debit cards and credit cards have the exact same amount of protection. From Visa's own website, Visa's zero liability policy says, Visa wants you to feel free to use your credit or debit card with complete confidence. In the unlikely event that fraud occurs, the zero liability policy means you won't be held responsible for fraudulent purchases made with your card or account information. Debit or credit, exact same protection, Visa's own site. Myth, my teenager needs a credit card to learn how to be responsible with money. The truth is, surveys of college students and dropouts find that more students drop out of school because of financial trouble than academic failure. So let's see. You're not doing well with money and you're using your credit card, but you're going to train your teenager to do the same thing? How is that smart? It's not. And these companies are going after these college students. They want another generation tied into their credit cards. Myth, Dave, leasing a car is smart. You should always lease things that go down in value. Besides that, there's tax advantages. The truth is, Consumer Reports and a good calculator will tell you that a car lease, I call it a fleece, is the most expensive way to finance and operate a vehicle. Car dealers push leasing because they make more money on leasing than they do anything else on the car lot. And yet 82% of millionaires say they've never had a car loan or lease. 82%. Stay away from car payments. It keeps you broke. Myth, I can get a good deal on a new car. The truth is a new car loses 60% of its value in the first 5 years. A new car averages about $35,000. That means in 5 years, it'll be worth about $13,000. If you're going to turn $35,000 into $13,000 over 5 years, you might as well just get some money out and throw it out the window as you drive down the interstate. It's out of control. You're losing money like crazy. You can afford to lose that kind of money only when you're a millionaire. So if you want to buy a new car, become a millionaire, and then it'll be okay for you to lose that much money. Myth, Dave, a home equity loan is a good option for consolidation and a great substitute for my emergency fund. The truth is you don't want to go into debt when you're in the middle of an emergency. You turn the emergency into a crisis. This is not sophisticated. This is dumb. Guys, you know better than this. Think. It's common sense. You can feel what I'm saying is the truth. I've been through this. You've been through it. We've got to stop it. Myth, Dave, debt consolidation is smart. It saves on interest and it gets you a smaller payment. Truth, debt consolidation does nothing to change the behavior that got you into debt. And so many end up with actually more debt because you move your debt over here. Oh, I relax and I don't change my behavior, so I grow more debt. And you end up with double debt in this situation. Really, really, really bad idea. Besides that, you don't want a smaller payment. You want a larger payment. We're trying to get out of debt. You can't borrow your way out of debt, folks. It doesn't work. Myth, co-signing a loan is okay if I'm helping a friend or a relative. Well, that's really sweet, but it's dumb. The truth is the bank requires a cosigner because the person isn't likely to repay. The bank loans money to dead people and dogs, and they won't loan this guy money. Come on, think about it. And yet you're going to step in and make sure they get the loan because it's my grandson and he needs a truck. Oh, come on. This is a really bad idea. I've co-signed for loans. I ended up paying them. One guy co-signed for me. And when I went bankrupt, he ended up paying it. I had to go back and pay him back later. You're going to hurt your relationships. You're going to make people mad. You're going to let people down. Stay away from co-signing. It's actually in Proverbs. Proverbs 17:18, contemporary English version says, it's stupid to guarantee someone else's loan. You don't like that version? Let's try the New King James. It says, one lacking in sense signs surety for another. It's stupid to sign someone else's loan. Myth, but Dave, you can't go to college without a student loan. The truth is 68% of millionaires with college degrees never took out a student loan. How can you do that? Well, we're going to cover the things you need to do to go to school debt-free, clearly and in depth in baby step 5. But suffice it to say, you can get through school without a student loan. And you have to be very careful to study something that's actually usable in the marketplace. Student loans make up $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion. We've taken an entire generation and put a roadblock in front of their success with this particular lie. And delinquency rates are at 11.2%, highest delinquency rate of any type of debt out there. This student loan thing is a disaster. It's a debacle. And the average graduate leaves college right now with over $39,000 in student loan debt. So really what we're saying is this. The biggest myth of all is that debt is a tool and should be used to create prosperity. When the truth is, debt is proof that the borrower is slave to the lender. So what's the shortest route to prosperity? What's the shortest route to wealth, to being smart with my money, wise with my money? Can I borrow my way into success? Well, the truth is almost no one does. There's almost no data points that show that that works. You can't find it in Scripture. You can't find it in reality. You only find it in broke people's opinions about money. The truth is 73% of millionaires have never had a penny of credit card debt. 82% have never had a car loan. 81% have never borrowed money from family or friends, and 94% say they currently live on less than they make. Your most powerful wealth-building tool is not debt. Your most powerful wealth-building tool is your income. And when you give that away to debt, You've stolen. You've lost the power to build wealth, and they've stolen it from you. And you can't do that. You need to take it back. So once you see that, you understand that really, debt is dumb.
This downward spiral just began, but we couldn't really see what was happening. We were blinded by it, I think.
It's a mindset where you don't even realize how much you spend as you swipe.
We really had no emotional attachment to anything.
Everything kind of started to crash because I wasn't making the money that I had been making. I couldn't keep up with my credit card payments, but it still didn't click to me that there was a way for me to change it or there was a way for me to fix it.
I was starting to feel the weight of everything. That, we had this car loan, we had now 2 student loans that were, we couldn't defer anymore, that we had to make these payments on.
We were bordering on bankruptcy.
I remember searching through our junk drawer for change just because I wanted to just go get a snack and take my screaming child out for a ride in the car to calm her, and I couldn't find any change.
Went over to Michigan to see my buddy in Grand Rapids. In the course of that, I blew up my motorcycle. I'm sitting there looking at my wallet. I got these credit cards. Every one of them maxed out. So I call the credit card company, and I'm begging the gal on the other end of the phone to extend me another $1,000 of limit so I could get home, which was $25,000 I had maxed out, all of them.
I've had sleepless nights with the debt and the payments and everything else the mess we gotten into. That was a big moment for me, was how are we going to handle this?
I could see that my balance on my student loans was so super low, but I couldn't pay it off because I charged these credit cards back up and now I've got to pay them off again. I could have been out of debt so much earlier had I just cut the cards up.
One of the first steps is to figure out your net worth.
It was negative by 6 figures. And we went, oh no, what have we done?
So January 7th of 2013, and I still carry to this day, and I will carry to my grave, is my debts. Sat down, I wrote them all out. God. Said, I ain't living like this no more.
So how do these people get out of debt? Well, I used to think it was a math thing because I'm a math nerd. I got a finance degree. I even thought when I got out of debt, it was a math thing. I found out later it's just because I was really mad. Because I have people call me up that make $100,000 a year and they can't seem to pay off $40,000 in debt. I'm just stuck. What? Not after I just talked to the other guy 2 minutes ago who makes $40,000 a year and paid off $100,000. What's the difference? It wasn't math. It was this thing of, there's something going on inside of them, right? Les Brown, the great motivator, says people change their lives when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they finally say, that's it, I've had it. We worked too hard to be this broke. I am sick of putting in all these hours, and we got nothing to show for it. I got all these degrees, I did all this stuff, I did everything right, and I am broke, and I make $85,000 a year. This makes no sense. When you have that thing happening inside of you, you're ready. Because it's no longer an intellectual discussion at that point. When you get there, that's when it changes for you. That's when things are going to move, but not until. And so I was trying to figure this out because I've been studying, as I told you, biblical finance. And so I'm looking in the Bible going, what is going on with this? And I couldn't find it. But I read Proverbs. There's 31 Proverbs. Even if you're not a Christian, you can do this, okay? Proverbs is the book of wisdom. You'll be wiser. Just try it, okay? There's 31 of them. So you can read one a day. And they're not very long. 5-10 minutes, you can read a proverb, right? But if you'll think about what's in there and learn the Proverbs, what'll end up happening is this. You'll end up with a master's degree in finance. Because the Proverbs are full of financial wisdom. They're chocked full. Even if you're not a Christian, it's okay, just read it. Just go, lots of people do this stuff. So I'm reading through Proverbs, and I read, the day according to the month. So the 6th came up, and I opened up a thing, and it says, if you've signed surety, my son, do this. Now, surety is Old English Bible talk for gone into debt. So if you've gone into debt, do this. Now, if you're looking at this with my set of eyes, I'm saying this is the maker of the universe who says if you're in debt, here's what you do. This is worth reading after the do this, right? I want to know what he says. This is a game changer. Whatever follows is very important to someone like me. If you're in debt, here's what you do. God says. Paying attention now. Give no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids. I got that. That's hard work. I got it, okay? And deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. Now, truthfully, I'm no biblical scholar. I'm just a redneck guy reading the Bible. But I'm reading that, and I said, deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. I have no idea what that means. You give me an animal metaphor. I was so excited about the do this. And you give me an animal metaphor. Now, this is how I pray. So some of y'all need to have reverent prayers and you think, God's not scared of me. It's okay. He can just talk to me like, and so I'm, what? Animals? What? So I'm scanning the channel that night, scanning the TV channels, just bouncing around. And I landed on the Discovery Channel and God answered my prayer. He told me what it meant. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. So I'm watching this thing and I click and there's the gazelles. They're out there gazelling around. And I thought, I just read about you boys. You're how we get out of debt. And you know the Discovery Channel is not there if the gazelles are there by themselves, right? You know someone else is on the scene. Mr. Cheetah. And gazelles have a little cheetah detector behind their ear, and when they see the cheetah, they're like, cheetah, run! Because they know the cheetah is the fastest mammal on dry land. He can run up to 82 miles an hour. He can go from 0 to 67 in 4 leaps. This is a bad cat. There's not a gazelle on the planet that can outrun a cheetah. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter. How do you get out of debt? You run like your life depends on it. See, look what he did. He picked out a college student. Come here, kid. Come here, kid. You need to get a credit card. You need to build up your FICO score, kid. Come here, kid. I'll give you a t-shirt. Sign up, kid. This happened to you on college, right? How you get out of debt? You got to run like your life depends on it. The only shot you can wander into debt, you can't wander out. The only way you get out is you run like you got to go crazy. You got to lose your mind. You got to run like death is on your heels, because it is. It's the only way you get away. You know how long we had to look for a clip where he gets away? The interesting thing is I started doing some reading on it because this is a biblical metaphor. Deliver yourself like the gazelle from the hand of the hunter. The hunter of the gazelle is the fastest, most deadly predator of that type of situation. Now, that lion is actually more deadly, but not faster. And the primary killer of the gazelle is the cheetah. The gazelle cannot outrun the cheetah, and yet, in a chase, the cheetah only captures the gazelle 1 out of 19 times. But it's stacked against him. Why? Well, I got to thinking about it. Motivation. You can come out of your own skin when you're motivated enough, can't you? See, one's getting ready to die, and one's getting ready to have lunch. It's a different level of commitment, isn't it? What are you committed to? You got to run like your life depends on it because it's stacked against you. That's a good metaphor. I get it. And here's the interesting thing. It says, deliver yourself. Like the bird from the hand of the fowler, the gazelle from the hand of the hunter. Deliver yourself. So people come up to me, thank you, Dave, for getting me out of debt. I didn't get you out of debt. You got you out of debt. I just showed you how and made you believe it was possible. That's all I did. I told you if you'll run like your skin's gonna fall off, you'll run so hard, you can get out. Your friends are gonna think you're crazy. Your family's gonna think you've joined a cult. But when you stop caring what other people think and you run like your life depends on it, that's when you start winning. You can play around with this stuff if you want-ish, but this is what works. So what do you do to get out of debt? Well, number one, you quit borrowing more money, right? You can't get out of a hole while you're digging out the bottom. So we had to light the candles and had us a little plasectomy party at our house. Little plastic surgery action going on, right? Said something's got to give here. We're not doing this anymore, you know? Victoria's Secret. They take cash. Citibank, what's in your wallet? Money. Discover, freedom. American Distress. Dave, you're weird. I know, I already told you, normal's broke. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to have a normal marriage. I don't want to have normal kids. Normal's average and typical. It's not my goal in anything. I'm gonna be wide open, baby. Stop borrowing more money. The next time something comes up and you got a problem or an opportunity, we're not borrowing money to do it. We do things at our house at the speed of cash. We don't have the cash, that means God said no. No is a possible answer to your prayers, by the way. No, some of you ain't used to hearing that, but no is a possible answer. The next one is you need to save money. We started baby step one. Baby step one was what? Remember, $1,000. Say $1,000. Baby step one's $1,000. We started with saving. Now we've stopped all other savings. We're not doing our 401k right now. We're working on this debt. We're not putting money aside for emergencies. We're working on this debt. Any money we have that's non-retirement is going at this debt right now. We're knocking this debt out as fast and as hard with gazelle intensity as we can. So we're temporarily not saving so that we can save. The faster you get out of debt, the faster you're gonna have all that money that you're giving those other people to build wealth with. It's really not that hard. Most people pay off all their debt except their home using this with gazelle intensity, not ish, but with gazelle intensity in less than 24 months. They're debt-free, everything but their house. Most people, not everybody, but most people do. And it's just because they get fired up and wired up and for the first time in their lives believe they can control their own destiny. And they decide to take control. You gotta learn to pay yourself first. Next thing is you need to sell some stuff. You got so much junk in your life. I got so much junk in my life. You need to sell so much stuff the kids think they're next. You put the dog on eBay and the cat on Craigslist. You need to you need to amputate some junk. You got payments and you've been holding on to that thing and you don't even own it. The bank owns it. You're just renting it. So you need to decide, what are you gonna do? If you will drive like no one else, later you can drive like no one else. I went from driving a Jaguar to broke, driving a hoopty. It was worth $100. I'm driving like no one else and I don't drive that now. Now I drive whatever I want. But that's 30 years later of doing this stuff. I drove like no one else, now I drive like no one else. I don't think you ought to drive a car like that. I don't think I care what you think. I didn't buy the car for you. I didn't buy it for the person at the stoplight. I bought it because I'm a car guy and I like that car. And I can do that. It's a small percentage of my world and I wrote the check. And that's where you're gonna be. But you may have to amputate the Tahoe to get there. Well, what about the children? What? They don't have cars that the children can ride in that are cheaper? I mean, y'all act like you just get all noble all of a sudden about your debt. You know, it's just crazy stuff. Just crazy. Another one is take a part-time job or some overtime. Increase your income. My grandmother used to say there's a great place to go when you're broke, to work. It's a surefire money-making scheme, this work thing. I can't find work. Well, go down there to the Home Depot or the Lowe's, get you one of those backpack blowers, leaf blowers. Rich people are afraid of leaves. Just go up and knock on their door. I got your answer right here, man. They'll start writing you checks. People pay $25 an hour for you to clean your house. It's nuts, man. You can find some work. Is it you want to work like that the rest of your life? No, you work like no one else, so later you can work like no one else. You know when I work now? When I want. You know when I work back then? All the time. Because I'm getting out. I'm going to live like no one else so that later I can live and give like no one else. Another one is prayer really works. Prayer's real, y'all. The Bible says the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. Your heavenly Father is crazy about you, even if you don't think he's there. He's crazy about you. He loves you, and he's really rich. Your dad is rich. Phone home, E.T. Yo, dad, got a problem here. He's gonna say, when you're faithful with the little things, you'll be given more to manage. So he's gonna require you to do the part that you're supposed to do. He's not just a sugar daddy giving out money. You won the lotto because you prayed. That doesn't work that way, okay? But when you start doing the stuff we're talking about, you'll see him start stepping in and stuff will start happening that doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? They're called blessings. Sometimes when they really don't make sense, we call them miracles. But that's unusual. That's why they're called a miracle. Doesn't happen all the time. So your heavenly Father's crazy about you. He's mad at me, Dave. You don't know all the stuff I've done. Honey, he's not mad at you. You make him laugh a lot. I mean, how many of y'all got enough kids that you have a stupid one? If they're with you, don't raise your hand, all right? Think about your heavenly Father. I know he's got some stupid children because I've been one of them a time or two. You know what I'm saying? He's looking down going, Gabriel, look at that one. That was stupid. Oh, that's going to leave a mark. I wonder when he's going to wake up, you know? Think about it. Think about how you love your kids. And if we, being evil, know how to give our kids good gifts, how much more so our Father in heaven? He loves you. He's crazy about you. And he's not mad at you. He just misses you. If you hadn't talked to him in years, or maybe you'd never talked to him, all you got to do is just talk to him. He'll listen. And the Bible actually says, his love letter actually says that if you do it with the right heart, he'll throw a party, put a new suit of clothes on you, a gold ring on your finger, and he'll serve filet mignon. It's in there. Look it up. It's called The Prodigal. You'll find it. So how we get out of debt? We do those things with gazelle intensity, right? We're selling stuff. We're working. We're praying. We're doing this thing, man. We're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. Y'all feel it? This is happening. You feel it? You feel it? Yes? This is how you're doing it. And then you got to have this system. And you use the debt snowball. Now, remember, personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So this is not a math problem. This is a I've had it problem. And I'm going to do stuff I've never done to get stuff I've never gotten, to be in a place I've never been. You got to pay a price to win. This is a theme. It's going here. Because there's no other way out that I've ever found. And I've gotten more people out of debt than anybody else that's walking the earth today. It's all I do all day long, okay? And I'm not asking you to brag on me. What I'm saying is the stuff we teach works. That's all I'm saying. It's not about me. It's about this. You submit yourself to doing something you've never done before so you get something you've never gotten before. That's all it is. The debt snowball is where you list all your debts except your home, smallest to largest. You pay minimum payments on everything but the little one with gazelle intensity, with an extra job, with selling stuff, with cleaning out all non-retirement savings and throwing it at the debt. We're going to pay off number one. The smallest one is gone. It's gone. Once it's gone, you take the payments you used to have there and any other money we can squeeze out of our life. The extra job money comes in. This stuff starts happening. We put it on number two. When number two's gone, you take the payments on from 1 and 2. The snowball rolls over again. It picks up more snow and you attack number 3. When 1, 2, and 3 are gone, it rolls over 3 more times. It's got all that money and everything else, and you're starting to believe this is going to happen. When you first do it, you'll go, oh, look at that. We paid off 1. Then you'll do, look at that. We paid off another. Look at that. We paid off. By the time you've done 5, you got the neighbors over there. Look at this. I'm getting out of debt. you start to believe because you get the feedback called success. And to modify behavior, all the studies tell us that you have to have feedback called success. If you decide I'm gonna lose weight and you go to the YMCA for 4 days and you gain 2 pounds, you will not go back to the YMCA. You have to have some success to keep going in something that's difficult, something that's new, something that's changed from the old ways, or you won't keep doing it.
Well, Dave, it would be mathematically correct to list these debts' highest interest rates to least interest rate.
Yes, darling, it would. But if we were doing math, we wouldn't have credit card debt. This is not a math problem. I'm a math nerd. I would do it that way. That's the way I would want to do it. And if you're a math nerd, you're going, I think I'll do it that way. Well, there you go, ishing again. Don't fix this. It's not broken. By the way, the difference in paying off highest interest rate to lowest versus lowest balance to highest is it's within a month or two in every debt snowball I've ever done. The difference is almost non-existent. There's almost no difference when you actually do it. Everybody has to argue, though, with their theory. A lot of broke people got theories about money. You know, I got to thinking about who was it taught me to borrow money? That was my finance professor in college who was broke. What's wrong with that picture? Broke finance professor is like a shop teacher with missing fingers. So decide what you're going to do. List your debts smallest to largest. Attack them in that order. Try it. Try it. What do you got to lose? What's the worst thing that could happen?
You got out of debt a little slower than the mathematically correct way.
And here's the thing, the mathematically correct way, almost no one finishes it. Several studies done by several major universities. Time magazine prints an article after all this research. Turns out Dave Ramsey's right. That's what they said. You know? I didn't need research. I had 5 million people. I already had the research. I knew people were winning doing this, and when they were doing it the other way, they weren't winning. It's really not hard to figure out, y'all. So figure out this is the way you drive the car this way. Try it. If you get completely out of debt and you hate it, you can get right back in. If you find out you can't live without a FICO score, you can build it right back up. The whole thing is designed for you to do that. It's not designed for you to live without a FICO score. You see, I'm now a multimillionaire because of this, and I'm not bragging. God has blessed me, and I have a life that is unbelievably blessed. The FICO score is so screwed up, y'all. I hadn't had a FICO score in 25 years. My FICO score is 0, indeterminable. I don't have one. So that means I can go down here to the local apartment complex that's managed by a 26-year-old who has a boss in another city and a set of policies and procedures manual that they're not allowed to go outside of. And they say you have to have a FICO score to rent an apartment there, right? I can't rent an apartment there. I can write a check and buy the complex, but I can't rent an apartment there. That's how ridiculous this is, you guys. We're playing with the wrong scoreboard. Your scoreboard is your net worth. Your scoreboard is the difference in your income and your outgo that creates the margin that increases your generosity factor and your net worth factor. That's your scoreboard. Don't measure by their scoreboard. You're going to lose doing that. It's a new paradigm. It's a new way of thinking about things. Listen, if you want to be just like everybody else, it's really easy. Do what all those people are doing. It's really easy. But most of them aren't wealthy. And most of them have a lot of stress. And most of them have a lot of stress in their marriage on this subject. You don't want to be like them. Decide to be weird. Normal's broke. I don't want to live like this.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Dave Ramsey Show. What's up?
I'm here to do my debt-free screen.
It's a lot to pay off, but we're not going back.
I can't believe that it was that large of a dollar value.
We had a lot of difficult decisions that we made throughout the 7 years that we were on our journey.
How much have you paid off?
I've paid off $120,000.
$394,000.
$162,000 in 7 years.
$456,607.92.
Wow. Does that include your home?
It does not.
Whoa.
We were hyper focused.
Cut up my credit cards. I cut everyone up. I canceled them. I did all that stuff.
We literally started selling our furniture. We had no furniture in our living room for 7 years.
People would come to my house and be like, well, how long have you been here? Like, where's your furniture?
We sold my car, which was a great car. I cried the whole way home. I was like, what have I just done? I got rid of my car and now I'm driving this beater.
They were kind of looking at me like, this girl is crazy.
I just started hitting it. Started with the first one. Got that one knocked out.
We would be sitting there at dinner like going, okay, and if we sold this and if we did that and if.
So it started this like snowball effect of I sell, he sell, I sell, he sell.
Kids probably were terrified we were going to sell them next.
So I worked 3 weeks on, 1 week off for 18 months straight.
My week off, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. In fact, I picked up a little extra cash. Just went gazelle, man, like nobody's business.
We started selling stuff and we got pretty radical.
What would you think if I sold my convertible and she's, well, I'm not going to ever tell you have to sell your baby.
I don't think it really hit me until I paid off my student loans. They send you a letter that essentially says your balance is zero.
What do you tell them the keys are when people hear you've gotten out of debt?
Don't give up.
So what was the hardest part of this?
It's been 7 years and our kids are 16 and 14 now. So it was really hard to learn to say no to them and to know that they'd be okay and that we were actually giving them a better lesson.
The weight off your shoulders.
Nobody owns me no more. That's the hugest thing of all. Nobody owns me anymore except him.
Yeah.
How do you keep with it for 7 years?
We kept dreaming.
Yes.
It's a big thing for us.
Now there's just peace and
It's a freedom.
freedom.
Count it down. Let's hear a great debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt free!
Every single one of those people you just saw has been where you are right now. I know it seems impossible, but you can do this. You're here because what you've been doing hasn't been working, or it hasn't been working well enough. It's time to draw a line in the sand. It's time to take a stand against debt. It's game on, you guys. Now, we're about to cut up your credit cards. And in the next lesson, you're going to learn the importance of saving and setting up your emergency fund so that you never go back in debt again. Now, it's time for your 1 minute takeaway. Write down one thing that you're going to do this week based on what you learned in this lesson. What is your 1 minute takeaway?